Hey there, hi there, ho there, my name's Vale, and the developers of Pathea Games have been kind enough to give me a code to their Switch release on my time at Portia. It's really nice of them, and I feel like maybe I don't deserve to be treated that nice. But, thank you, Pathea Games. It's really nice of you, I love you. So, but that, unfortunately, means we're gonna have to start from scratch, which is a bit of a bummer, because we just started making progress. But who knows, it'll be good to just play it all through. Play it through! Okay, so let's go ahead and just start. Oh, thank you, Anthony. But we're gonna get to customize a new character. Hey Daniel Ward, I saw your comment earlier, and I really enjoyed it. I love you from the bottom of my fart. That's my phone. Okay, now, time for the best part of the game. Time for the best part of the game, customizing the character. Okay. The name. It's Marco, so let's change it to Vale. Oh. Okay. Vale. Okay, so got the dude. Okay, so and then we're switching over here. It's gonna take me a second to get used to these controls over here, because I've only played this game on the PC. Okay, so no. That kind of looks like me. Let's make the hair shorter. Yeah, that's good. But it needs to be dark brown. Dark brown. Oh, Owen, the reason why I restarted this game is because Pathea Games was nice enough to give me a code to their console release, which is going to be a much more stable, much more enjoyable thing for me. So we're going to start everything over, and we're really going to enjoy it, and we're going to get the customization perfect last time, because last time I gave myself a squeaky little voice to do it like this, and talk like this every time, and it made doing the voiceover really suck. Oh, I'm glad you're officially caught up in Subnautica. There are also past podcasts you can watch too if you get the itch for more, Daniel Ward. Okay, hair color, hair highlight. When I was younger, I actually had blonde highlights. I don't want green. There we go. Oh wait, that's the regular color. I don't want blue. Okay, we're just gonna go basic brown. Basic brown. Hey, Purr. I remember you're coming too. I'm sorry you just crashed, Owen. Okay, so next. Face type. I've kind of got a bit of a more round face with a square jaw. Nope. No, my lips are not that big. Not that big. No, that's... I think this bottom one, I guess. Here, let me be really wide-eyed so you can make the comparison. Isn't it perfect? I mean, what? Okay, brow position. Oh, I'm an angry boy. I'm an angry boy. I'm an angry boy with thin eyebrows. And eye size. Oh, I'm an anime girl. Hear to me? I am anime. Oh, there's a bit of ice. Okay, so, no. Let's go for normal size. Eye shape. Okay, eye height. Okay, eye space. Okay, normal seems like the way to go. And I have poopy brown eyes. That's what I've got. poopy brown. Okay, so change color. Okay, screw it. We're just gonna leave it like that. Hey JP, how you doing? I got this code on the Switch. I'm playing like a console pleb. Yeah. Okay. I can't be bothered to figure out the controls for the color right there. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so lower face. Oh, okay. Okay. Nose position. I've got a pretty button nose right here. So we're gonna put it right smack dab in the middle. Cream in the middle. Okay, and then mouth size. I've got a tiny mouth. I've got a tiny mouth. Yes, I do. And the mouth height, it should be pretty high. Yes, yes, it's all coming together. It's all coming together. And my chin, it's big. And my chin, it's wide. And my chin, it's long. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, so that's good. Confirm. If I remember correctly, you can, like, select your voice. Let's not make it quite that. Oh yeah, that's more broad. Oh, yeah. There we go. That's more like it. That's more like it. I had a bit of fun with it, but I don't want to be a monster. Okay, but how do I get out of here? Okay, you cannot change. Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of like Stardew Valley, Owen. I love the music in this game. Gonna play, gonna play, gonna play it. Gonna play, gonna play, gonna play it, yeah. Gonna play this game. What you gonna do today, dude? What you gonna do today, do this? I'm gonna play this game. Loading times are a thing even on consoles. Now you know, dude, when you play this game. Gonna wait for loading times all day, dude. Cause it's kinda way, dude. I nearly said gay. Okay. I thought it would crash for a minute. Oh, thank you, Daniel. You have a wonderful opinion. My time at Portia. I'm sorry about your volume, Owen shit. Okay, let's try and scoot forward a bit so my chair's more in frame. Okay, we're gonna be leaning back, maxing out cool. Look at this. My time at Portia. I'm gonna lower the Elgato volume just a little bit so that my voice takes precedence. My dulcet tones. Okay, Presley. 1 second. Good to see you again. Hope you had a pleasant journey from Barnarock. Barnarock? What? That's quite far, yeah. But my character is just like, that's quite far. And it's like, yeah, it is. I wonder what it's like, yada yada. Presley. No one's been working there since Pa left Portia so many years ago. He was a good friend. Yeah. I just said yeah multiple times. Okay, so R is that. Wait. Hey, don't wander too far. Okay, so. Oh, so to dash, I use this. Dash. Hit this. To jump, I press B. Yeah, I'm a real good jumper. I'm a real good jumper. Okay. Oh, X is attack. I feel like they dialed back the attack animations. Okay, what we got? What we got? What we got? 1 second. Light back here isn't cooperating.
Oh, then here's a letter from your father. He asked me to present it to you when you've seen this house. Here's the workshop handbook of your paws. Take your time and come to the Portia Commerce Guild tomorrow. It's located around Beach Plaza. You can't miss it. Much as I'd like to give you a builder license right away, you'll need to prove your worth through a couple tests.
That's his thing. He just does right after every sentence.
Anyway, I'll leave you be. Get some rest.
Bye, Presley. Thanks for your help. There is a voiceover option in the PC thing. I want to see if I can get it working on the console. Okay. And now we rise!
Ow, my head hurts. I didn't sleep well at all from the breeze coming through the cracks last night.
Okay. Requires 3 wood. Okay. The one thing... Options. Sound. Game. Okay, so it doesn't look like they have the voiceover option in this, which is a weird thing to take out, honestly. Okay, so... let's go on outside and get ourselves some things. Hey, Thunder, welcome back. Okay, the glowing objects are most likely to be collected resources. Press. It says press the arrow keys to gain help. Oh, press the start button. Okay, so I was a bit confused right there. Bit confused. Okay, and that'll give you game help. And that gives me the menu from the PC. Okay. And let's check this. From Portia Times. Hello, new subscriber. This is the Portia Times. We are sponsored by the city government. Yada yada blah blah. Yada yada blah blah. Okay, we got a dash, 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 dash. Night. Okay, so we need to get some wood. That's 2 wood. Okay, what else we got? What we got? What we got? What we got? Okay, so let's go meet Presley. Let us go meet Presley. I think he gives us a starter axe, which is good. Because we need to chop down trees. And I think we might go for like 2 hours tonight. It really depends on how it goes. But if we get enough people in here, I'll give away that last code I still have for the PC version. Because no one really wanted it. I'm not popular enough to have enough people who want a game. Ah, there we go. Now I'm higher up in my chair. Okay, we gotta meet Presley. Where is Presley? Presley's not here. That's where Presley is not. Oh, I'm sorry, Daniel. Yeah, that is a problem, isn't it? Okay, where is Presley? Is Presley in here? I think Presley might be in the Commerce Guild. Okay. Ah, here we go.
Pathea, nice to see you. How are you settling in? Yeah.
Very well.
Great, meh. Let me introduce you, meh, to the Commerce Guild, meh. We're the organization that orchestrates trade across the entire Free Cities region. This is the Portia branch. We're pretty busy throughout the year, meh. Now then, let me give you a build test. This is pretty easy. Make an axe and pickaxe and bring them to me, meh. Meh.
Okay, so we gotta make a simple axe and a simple pickaxe. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Hey, Opie Miyaka-san. Yeah, I remember you. Long-time viewer over there. Okay. Oh, there's Nora. Best girl, Nora. Okay, we need rocks and sticks. We gotta get mega rocks and mega sticks so we can make a mega axe. Okay. That might be enough right there. Then there's the workbench. Not enough materials. We need more stone and more wood. Okay. Oh, this is gonna take some getting used to for me because I'm used to using my mouse. Yeah, I'm a new guy in town. I'm just scrounging around for trash on the ground. I'm the trash man. I'm just looking for rocks and sticks so I can make a stick with a rock on the end so I can chop down trees. Oh, hello. Oh, I remember those. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so how do we... Okay, we press Y to move it. Ah. How do I equip this? How do I equip this? How do I equip stuff? Okay, this is a bit hard for me to figure it out. I'm sorry. Okay, maybe if I just press buttons. Or maybe I think it's just something I scroll over. Huh. Okay, what? Give me a minute. Okay, 1 minute. How do I select things on my quick bar? Maybe I press in on the... No? Okay, so I roll by doing that. Oh, are you talking about the Notre Dame? Yeah. Maybe it'll tell me if I just do the tutorial. Yeah, let's just do the tutorial, see what it tells me. We'll be fine, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Okay, so we'll be fine. We just need a simple axe. Simple axe for a simple man and a pickaxe. I need more wood. Okay. Okay, so... Okay, I'm gonna have to look up game help. Hey, Demur, how you doing? I'm pretty sure you're a mod on, site music. Okay, so... I have yet to figure out how to navigate the inventory of this game. Basic tutorial. Press to cut and dig. Okay. Guys! No! Oh no.
Maybe I just... How do? Oh! Aha! I am so smart. But I need a better X. I have figured it out! I am Smarticles with the particles. Yeah, that's right. I did that. I made the pun. Bite me. You're smart, but you're not. Okay. Now we've got enough wood. Okay. And that means we can make the pickaxe. Boom, yakasha. Woo! This is my time at Portia. The developers of the Pathea games were kind enough to give me a code to play this game, and I've really liked it so far. But unfortunately, that means I had to start everything over. Oh yeah, Ben was a nice guy. It's kind of sad that he stopped, but we try not to like make it a thing because people really miss him. Oh, need a better axe. Okay, so now we need to go back to Presley and turn our stuff in so that we can progress the storyline. So that's what we do. That's what we do. That's what we do. There's Arlo. He's super cool. He's got the red hair and he's like, ha, dude. Yeah, I'm totally epic. Oh, I'm sorry you have to write your midterm, Candace. What? Better your midterm than your final. Meh. Excellent quality. Nicely done. You can keep him. I just wanted to see what you could do. Now, for the second test, you are to build a stone furnace. This one's a bit tougher, and you'll need to use the assembly station on your yard to complete this task. If I remember correctly, your pa had a very detailed account of the things he made. You might want to flip through his workshop handbook and see if you can find a diagram for the stone furnace. Once you have a diagram, you just need use it on the assembly station in your yard to start construction. Bye, Thunder. I love you. Okay, so we got 3 copper wire. Nope. 4 wooden storages. Oh, that's Nora. That's Nora. Yes. Oh, I'm not registered. I'm not registered, so I can't. Hey, Daniel, tell me if you recognize this meme. Huh, Colonel. I need to get past the guards, but I'm dummy thick. But I'm dummy thick. Okay, so we need to build a stone furnace. I'm sorry you can't stay longer either. I leave you. Okay, we got wood. Can we break this? Nope. We can break this though. That's from Metal Gear Solid. That's a Metal Gear Solid meme. Look it up. 10 out of 10 memerino. Okay, so we need to keep chopping up some stones. Nope, that one won't do. Can't break that one. No sorry, Bob. Yeah, give me that. Give me that. Give me all that. Okay, it's only 3:30 in the evening over in this game world, so we have plenty of time to gather some stone and get all the risity rocks we need. Ah, Colonel. KFC. Indeed. Can I break that? Nope. Need a better pickaxe. Oh yeah, Snake is OP. Snake is good, dude. Okay, we're getting the rocks. Gotta get the rocks, because I am a rock. I am a nine. Oh, is that a tiny rock next to a big rock? Yes, it is. I'm gonna kill that baby rock in front of its big rock parent. I mean, what? What? No. I would never. Never, ever, never. Okay, so we need to go here. And we need to pick up
We need to choose the stone furnace. So how do you choose? Oh, that's the grinder. I didn't need that. Okay, retrieve. Okay, so whenever you choose it, you can see in the top corner that you have to click one of these or one of these in order to choose which page you're choosing. And we want the stone furnace, so we press the left one. Okay, and we also need to go to our inventory and put things on our hotbar. And that is what we'll do. Okay, so we've got wood on our first slot, and we need to place it like so. And then we got stone over here, and we need to place it like so. Oh, I need a stone stool. So we need to craft a stone stool. Okay, stone stool. There we go. One of the weird things is you can't select, you can't like exit out of things with just B like you would in other games. You have to confirm that you've done it, and then you get to exit out of the menu. Okay, and the move items, I press Y. That switches them around. Just it's going good. It's going good. We got ourselves a stone furnace. Okay. Now where are we gonna put this thing? I'm thinking right here. Okay, so okay, we place it with Y as well. Using a lot of Y. As in, why are we doing this? Okay, so Daniel. I think tomorrow I'll do Slime Rancher or something. Okay, so we need to talk to Presley again, because he's the one who can give us our builder permit. Right, we're about to be totally official, dudes. Okay, there we go. Oh, Presley, Elvis Presley.
Great job, you passed. This is your builder's license. Congratulations. Now you just need to take this license over to the mayor's office and get your workshop registered.
Yeah, look at me. I got my builder's license. I'm so epic. I've got a plaque. Oh, hello. Gale. Tick.
Welcome. Well,
what voice would this guy have?
welcome, welcome. You must be Valio. I'm Galar, the man of this kid.
Oh man, I want to give him a Scottish accent.
It is really wonderful to see young people getting involved in the politics of our society.
I'm here to register my workshop.
Very well. What is the name of your workshop?
Oh no. Oh no. Okay, it can be 12 letters. It can be 12 letters. Whew, what do we do? Who knows what surprises a Wonderbuck can hide? Ease. Okay. Okay, so Y. Oh. These crafts. With a Z. Got him. There we go. Easers. These crafts. Nice name. There, your registration is complete. Thank you. Also, we're going to have a fireside meeting in town once in a while. They'll be announced through the mail. Try to make them if you can. You don't want to be the only one there. I will cover the town and world events at large, you know. Okay. Go Presley registration. Presley! I know it's like super late. But let's just play the game. Presley, are you still here? Presley.
Register workshop.
Yeah.
Yeah, now a bona fide workshop owner. Your pa would have been so proud. Let me explain some of the processes of our trade here at the Portia office. We post workshop commissions every day on the vault over there. Based on the speed and quality of the results, we may make a ranking of the workshops every week listed on the wall behind me. There are other workshops in Portia.
Wait, that was me.
Oh yes, including adding yours, there will be 5 workshops in our jurisdiction. Besides the regular list, you also have a workshop rating. Once you're done, yeah, man, that is so much. This is his first commission. I've kept one just for you. Oh, Higgins.
Plain favorite, me. Never do mini commissions,
That run Tuesday.
Man, it's really not doing the voiceovers. That kind of sucks. I enjoyed them.
I'm Arla. I got a job for ya. What is it, Barlow?
We're looking for a build a bridge to Amber Island.
Follow me up and put up the money. Well, young Valio here is up to the challenge.
Yeah, he figured that place could be a real tourist attraction with the haunted cave and all. Gosh.
Valio, check your pa's workshop handbook and see if he has a bridge diagram in there. I remember he built a bunch. If it's there, use it for your assembly station. After you're done with the bridge pieces, you'll need to go to the next spot and assemble the bridge. Also, and this is important for a project to build a bridge, you probably need to dive into the abandoned ruins to gather materials. We have one such ruin in Portia, yada yada, blah blah.
That's cool and all, but what we got? I want some commissions from Nora, cause she's cute. I want to build some wooden storages because she's super cute. Got style, she's got grace. She's all up in your face. She's Nora. 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 Grab your backpack, backhoes, come on babe, vamonos, you can lead the way. Nora. Oh man, I'm having a good time. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Oh right, I need to fix the gap. Okay, and place. Yeah, builder license. Fix this gap. Requires 3 wood. Yeah, let's do it. Yes. Yas, queen. Slay. Requires 20 wood. Oof. Oof. Okay, sleep. Oh, look at Daniel in there. Look at Daniel, he's using my... I mean, what? This house is so worn, I need to fix it, yada yada, blah blah. Okay, so we're gonna gather a whole bunch of wood, make some wooden storage, make some money, and get Nora to fall in love with me. Nora! Okay, it's really bugging me. Okay, there we go. That should be a bit better. Okay, it's raining, so that's a thing. Okay, we need to take our simple axe and chop down some simple trees. Okay, so there... Oh, I need a better axe. Yeah, level 3! Okay, nice. Can't chop that down. Nope, no sirree, Bob. Why is my phone going off? Stop that. I will put you underneath my butt so you can no longer bother me except... Yeah. I'm just gonna put it underneath my butt. Okay, so how much wood do we have? 35? 35 alive. Okay, so... Oh, hello, what's this? From the Civil Corps. One of the form unit at the Civil Corps. Town Hall. Yada yada. Hi, new builder. Oh. Need a grinder to create these blades. I'm gonna need 3 copper blades. Okay. Need qualified people to inspect these products. Okay, so that's during the weekend. Nice, nice. Okay, so one of the things we need to do is we need to fix the house. So let's go inside and fix the house real quick, and that'll help us along later in the game because it lets us rest and get more energy back. And we get better stats from a fully furbished house. Because one of the things that they do in this game that's really cool is you can decorate your house, and different furniture gives you different stats. Like if you do a whole kung fu house, you just like get tons of attack points. You're like the blue-eyed white dragon, and yeah. He's like the blue-eyed white dragon, and Kaiba's just like, screw the rules, I have money. Okay, yeah, we got ourselves a nice looking floor now. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so we still need more wood because we need to craft the 4 storage for Nora. Nora, the best girl. Got a big old ponytail and a poopy hat. She's so cute. Oh. Okay, we need a whole bunch of wood. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Okay, and tomorrow we're going to focus on mining and stuff, but today we want to complete the commission for Nora. Okay, we've got 34. Let's chop down the rest of these just so we can. One of the things I want to do differently from the time I played it on PC is I want to get a lot of grow beds growing, like, right in the beginning. I want to get it done so that we can just grow food, have it going the entire time. I was treating this like a survival game and not like a Stardew Valley game. And that was a big failure of mine. So let's craft those wooden storages. Okay, I can make 2. Okay, so I need another 40 wood, which isn't too bad, but could be worse, could be worse. Another 40 wood. I have 17 right now, which means I need 23 wood. The game is a bit laggy, but that's down to optimization. It is a new game. It hasn't been out for very long at all, and I'm hoping that more updates come out. And I even hope they make DLC from this game, honestly. Yeah. Okay, we got 40 wood. Well, let's chop down a bit more just because we're here already. And I know we're going to need the wood eventually. Oh, don't do that. Yeah, level 4. Get on my level, which is level 4. I'm level 4, so that is the level you guys need to get on before you can be on my level. Okay, so now, craft, wooden storage, boom. Okay, so now we go to Nora, and where is Nora? In the Church of Light? Yeah, Nora's there. Sweet. Nora! Nora! I'm coming for you! Says the stranger. She's never met. Oh, you also watched the Kingdom Hearts Let's Play, Daniel? That means a lot to me. That was before I switched to pretty much exclusively crafting games. I'm trying to be PG and friendly. I might be trying some Minecraft soon. Nora! I love you, Nora! Oh man. Okay. Hey, Nora. I know you're super cute. And you're like way out of my league. But I know I'm a stranger who's never been in this town before, and I just showed up and I just fell in love with you. But hey, I made you some boxes. Hey, Nora, I made you some boxes. Do you love me now? Do you love me? No. You took my boxes anyway, meh. Dried apple slices, nice. I might just eat those. Yeah, it gives me more stamina, which is really good. Stamina that I can use to do something else in the day. Hey, Tier, what's up? What's up? Okay, now... the other... Whoa! Whoa! Oh no! My parkour skills, they have failed me. Okay, so now I wanted to go into this area, because this is where you mine and get copper and resources. First time, and diamond. Yep. Alrighty. Let me explain then. All the ruins of the entries of the free city are regulated by the civil car. To enter the ruins, you'll need to pay a weekly maintenance fee, but we'll give you a 60% discount the first time. When you enter, I'll give you a jetpack and scanner, very handy ancient relics. Mining for resources becomes a lot easier when you have these equipped. He's just like slowing over, he's like, oh, there's the box. This was dead music, abandoned ruin. No monsters or robots in there, but resources and relics like power stones. Anything you find in the ruins are yours to keep. Unless they're ancient weapons, then they were supposed to hand them over to church for destruction. Destruction. Real talk, if I find any ancient weapons in there, I'm going to keep them to myself, and if anybody has a problem with that, I'm going to whip out that ancient weapon. I'm going to smack them in the face with it. Right, Daniel? But it's not about being consistent with the voices, it's about being funny. Yeah, I'm going to pay 80 gold to go into a deep, spoopy cave. Such spook, mini wow, gave me a fright. Give me a frighten. And the loading screen, it kind of poops all over the game. Okay. Press Y to dig. L to scan. Okay, so I need to get this over here. Where even am I? Oh, there we go. I have fallen, and I cannot get up. Okay. We scan. Take it off. And we kill! We kill the ground! We kill the ground! We stab the ground repeatedly until it dies! I am man! I conquer ground! Just give me all that. Okay, this isn't as intuitive as the original game was, but honestly, Okay, so if we jump, yeah. There we go. There we go. Okay, let's use the scanner. Why can't I move around while I'm doing this? That seems a bit counterintuitive. Maybe an adjustment they had to make for the Switch version. Ah, the new Overwatch event. I'm gonna play that so hard once I'm done with this. I'm gonna play it so hard. I'm gonna play Overwatch. I'm gonna play Overwatch. Hoggers. Okay, what did that give me? Data disk. Yummy in my tummy. Okay, and then we jump. Use the jetpack and we outie. Okay, so it is 17. That in the 24-hour clock. That's 5 o'clock in the evening. So. Oh, there's one right there. Oh, not enough stamina. Okay, it's time to go home then. Some douche is just driving by blasting music. He'll learn one day that that's not how you do it. Okay, so the map. Move to the ruins entrance. I'm glad they kept that. Because if you couldn't teleport in the ruins, then it would be way harder to get back to the start. I've thought about bringing Overwatch back into the game. It's pretty child-friendly, there's no blood or anything else. Okay, so... Serious data disk. Yes. Hey, copper blades, copper blades, oh! Okay, so let's go turn this in, because, getting quests done is the hallmark of any game, right? Get the quest done, you advance, and it's good. Ah, yes. The poopy Church of Lights is not open at this time. Well, you're poopy, Mr. Church of Lights. There we go. Let's make our way home. Parkour! Hey, man. Hey, Charlie Slaughter. I love the name, dude. Aw, Daniel, I didn't know you were from that long ago. It's good that... Well, if you are from that long ago, then thank you. Thanks for being here, and it's good to see you again. And I love hearing that people have been with me for a while, because it makes me feel hopeful that maybe one day I can be successful at this. Like... I love you, Daniel. Okay, so... Okay, so we want a grinding stone. We definitely want one of those. Okay, and we want to get a new thing. Grinder. Yeah. Apparently I need to have the item in my quick bar. You got volume to work going? Yay! I'm glad you're back, bud. Okay, so now we need to switch this out. Okay, so I need 2 grinding stones. Imagine that. Okay, now that I've got 2, I can put it on there. Okay. Stop. 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 Work with me here. There we go. That's one thing I feel like they should get rid of, is having to have it in your quick bar. On Switch, Xbox, and PS4, it's not gonna work that well. They should make it to where if it's in your inventory, you can put it on there. Craft. let's make some copper bars. Fuel. Make some copper bars. Okay. We got copper bars working. We don't have any old parts to speak of yet, so we can't add those yet. Oh wait, we do. We do have some old parts. I'm a big old stupid dummy face, and no one will ever love me. Couldn't say that with a straight face, because I'm oh so lovable and cuddly. Well, I'm glad you're back, Daniel. Okay, so place old parts. Now we just need 3 copper bars, and that should be done in the morning. Nice! Okay, that means it's time to go to bed. Go to bed, Fred. Oh, and I had to restart because I'm playing on the Switch now. Pathea Games was very kind to me and offered me a console code for their game because they're releasing. Confirm. Rise and shine, buttercups! Okay, so we should have the copper already. So gather. Hey, okay, so I'll get used to it eventually. Okay, and then place. Okay, and we retrieve. And then we grab from here. And then we place. Yes. Okay, okay. Let's place it right next to the thing. Okay, so we craft. Okay, we need more copper. That means going back to the mines. Okay. So let's go back to the mines. That's what we do. We're gonna get all the goodies. We're gonna be like, stabbing the ground with my pickaxe. Stabbing it real good. Oh man, I found treasure. Oh man, I killed him. Man, I mean, what? No, no, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Oh, hey, Lee. You see that sidestep he did? He's like cha-cha real smooth. Okay, yada yada, blah blah. Give me money! Give me money! Money! Let the quest be over and give me money! Give me money! Okay, great, here. Okay, we got some cotton seeds. Nice. Okay, abandoned ruins. No. Anthony, you right. You right. I am the very model of a modern major general. Okay, so there we go. We're gonna dig all the way down there. Hi ho, hi ho. It's off to work we go. Do. Hi ho, hi ho, hi ho, hi ho. Wait, what is going on here? Did I find a secret room? Did I find a secret room? I think I found a secret room. Okay, come on. I'm not sure I'm prepared for a secret room. Come on. Can't see nothing. I think I found a secret room, but I don't think I can do anything with it. Jeez. Let's just get some copper. Okay, come on. No. Here we go. Big old wall of copper. You know, I actually performed that entire song in the Cow series on school. Hey, level up, dude. But like for the Cow series that Jerome did for a while, that I wrote it and everything, so I wrote myself in singing that stuff. Need more copper. Need more copper. There we go. There we go. What time is it in the game world anyway? This might have run better on my PC. What is that? Weird glass jar piece, huh? Okay, come on, stop. Okay, here we go. What we got? What we got? What we got? Got anything over here? Oh. This is good. Dig a tunnel, dig a tunnel, dig a tunnel, dig a tunnel. What was that? Look before the hyenas come. Yeah, on Jerome's roleplay, there was a Cow School episode, and I wrote all those episodes. There were character arcs, there was bullying, there was friendship. There was a redemption arc. Yeah, I thought I did a good job. I built all the sets and voiced a lot of the characters in Jerome's roleplay. Okay, we got plenty of copper, I think. Didn't even check how much copper we got. 45 copper isn't bad. 2 discs isn't bad either, okay. I was Cal, and I was a lot of characters in that series. Okay, so copper bar. There we go. Then we need to get this working. Oh, I don't have any power stones. Well, that's a bit of a bummer. Oh, there we go. Nice. Nice-oo!
Nice-oo!
Get Okay, that's working. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so I still have yet to figure out... Ah, there we go.
Yeah, look at me with my boxing gloves. Yeah, look at me go. Look at me go.
Okay, so one of the things I want to do is I'm going to put all my skills into farming in the beginning. Because farming is what really matters in this game. It's what makes you money. It's what gets you better stuff. So, I'm gonna go there, there. Well, actually, max those two out. There we go. Then we apply it. There we go. So now our pickaxe and our regular axe don't cost as much stamina to swing.
Punch and I kick and I punch and I kick, yeah.
Okay, so it's probably prudent to get, you know what? We gather more wood. That's what we do. We spend the last of our stamina. We spend the last of our stamina to get that wood. We gotta get that wood. Gotta get that bread, guys. Gotta get that bread. Okay, so there we go. There we go. Timber! Chop this one down. It seems like this one would be too big. Yep. Too big. Too big 5 me. 3 big 5 me. Someone even say it's 4 big 6 me. Yes, yes. Whoever says that would be a smart cookie indeed. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, just running around in my backyard with an axe. That's totally not something that would get me arrested. Bye, Owen. I hope you have a good study session. There we go. That's the last of our stamina. Now we sleep. Now we sleep. Oh, you're just gonna study but still watch? Okay. Okay, so now we sleep. We sleep with our axe in hand. Oh, yes, I love my axe. It's my favorite tool. My favorite tool. Okay, so we've slept. That means things should be ready. Oh, the fuel was depleted. Okay, so refuel. And then we go over here. How many blades do I need? I need 1 more copper blade. Okay, and today is Friday. Okay. So tomorrow, that means we can expect some stuff, find a different style, and maybe get get some more things going. And so one of our objectives right now is to talk to Petra. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna run over to this little lab thing over here, and we're gonna talk to Petra, and she's gonna be like, "Wow, you're so smart," and I'll be like, "I know." I see how it is, Owen, threatening to leave me for Steve. See how it is. Steve's got like 80 people watching him. See how it is. Okay. Open! Let me in! Let me in!
Let me in. I'm gonna wreck your swing set. Let me in.
Okay, here we go.
Scientist works in the research center. What do we have here? A data disk? You know what it is?
This is actually related to how you can discover the diagrams for your workshop network. We rely on relic components from the past and build a lot of recurrent constructs. Many labs in this world are beyond our current understanding and we won't be able to build them, not even in 100 years. These data disks can be located all around the world. There are lots of useful information on relics. Find any, give them to us, and we'll help you research these relics. Researching just keep getting more squeaky. Sorry, my forehead's so big that it makes my head squeak. Wee 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 wee. Wee 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 wee.
Anyway, just remember that if you find any data discs, bring them to me, okay? Ah, Tier, there's like 5 people in the chat. You don't need to push for that stuff. Just chill, enjoy the live stream. I love you, bud. Okay, so what we got? What we got? What we got? Whoa, what we got? Look, there's another quest up here running. Whoa, bro, Higgins. Saw you doing some little Slenderman walkings over there. Not a fan of that. Okay, so let's go in here. What's up? Okay. Oh, talk to Gail. Hey Gail, how you doing? Meet and greet. Wow, Daniel, that's super good. You should be more active because I love seeing your beautiful face. Okay, so I need to meet all those people, yada yada blah blah. Okay, so today I guess we run around and meet everyone. Who is over here? Person inside building, I guess. A&G Construction, this is where we go to improve our house. Don't know what to tell you besides that. Okay, hello Albert.
Welcome. If you're in need of a house right now, thanks to me.
That was a good joke. All you need is a good plan from the catalog, yada yada, blah blah. Okay, we talked. That's Gust. Augustus Glut. Right here. Okay, so we meet more people. Do I need to meet Nora? Oh, I think one of them's in here. Okay, so we needed to go to the abandoned ruin. We needed to go to the abandoned ruin anyway because we need more copper and stuff like that. The more copper we have in the beginning, the better off we're gonna be. More wood, more copper, everything. Hey there, Mars. Hey, nasty. Wait, I feel like he's got a Flanders voice. Nice to have you. If you need tools or weapons, you can come to my shop. It's got the best selection around in these parts.
Now you look like a nice kid, so I'm going to give you these for free as a leg up. Don't tell my wife though. Paddle and doodle it, neighbor Rooney. Hey diddle diddle, said the cat to the fiddle, as the cow jumped over the moon. The little dog laughed to see such sport, and the dish ran away with the spoon.
Okay, we need more copper is the big thing right now. Copper and tin. The more tin we get, the more bronze we can make eventually. But tin is just kind of random in this area. Oh yes, here we go, here we go. We gotta angle down so we go directly down with our pickaxe. Because in the PC version, you can just angle down and automatically go down. But in this one, it's kind of free roam. Okay, I leveled up, which is good. Let's see how many skill points I have right now. Okay, we got 1 skill point, which means we put it into luck. It unlocks the next bit. But I want to fill out the entirety of gather before we move on. Yes, I am an encyclopedia of memes and references. Encyclopedia Memetanica. Need more capper. Capper. And it is not giving me what I need right now. Oh, here we go. Hey there, big boy. Hi there, sailor. Well, that's no good. That's no good, dude. Dude. Let's scan. Might as well aim for some stuff, right? There we go. See, in the PC version, you can move around while scanning. It's a lot more convenient. Here, give me that data disk. The moment I get 5 data disks, I can go to the research center and start researching some new stuff. Leather sofa, what? Oh, this is gonna look so good next to my bed and my pad. Welcome to Valeyard Players. Pimp my pad. My pad. Getting that copper ore. Brutal. Why do you just keep saying "Meh"? Why do you keep saying I think I'm lost. Good thing I have the power of teleportation. Yeah. Yeah. Who needs ender pearls, right? Well, if you need some attention, then let me say I love you, boo. Oh, well, Daniel, please tell your friends about the streams, because I'm trying really hard to get noticed. Okay, let's gather this. Then we can turn this in at... I think I need to turn it into the better brother. Oh, I need to meet this guy. Hello, Django. Are you unchained? Oh, thank you, Daniel. We all do our part. I could become internet famous. And then I can be like the PewDiePie. And not play games. A manly furniture maker. Welcome, smallish builder. I sell furniture here in my store. So if you have any need for manly decors, you know where to find me. And since I'm so manly, I'm gonna give you this to get you started. Yeah, I'm a manly man and I gave you hard wood. What you gonna do about it, brother? Okay, now let's get back to the house and chop down some wood because we're kind of running low on wood and that is used to fuel my fire. Just give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Actually, let's see if there's a commission in the Commerce Guild. It's 9 p.m. for you? Oh, Matt Pease! Matt Pease, I haven't seen you in so long, dude! Our city is in urgent need of 2 basic skivers. Please fulfill this. Okay. In need of 2 water tanks for store yacht. Okay, I can't accept more than 1. Yeah. Okay, so I need to make 2 basic skivers, which means I'll need to make 3 because I want to keep 1 for myself. Gotta love the music in this game. 1 second. There we go, that's a bit more comfortable. My feet can solidly touch the ground with this height. Okay, so we need to make some basic skivers. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go left. Basic skiver. Okay, so that... I need... Oh! Lord! Okay, so... First I need to make a civil cutter. Okay, this is gonna be a bit of a stretch. This is gonna be a bit of a stretch, but I think we can do it. Okay, copper bar. How many do I need? I need 2 copper blades. Okay, we're gonna refuel, just to make sure. And we're gonna chop down some trees because we can't finish the thing right here. And then we're gonna chop these down. Oh! I swung and I missed. And what else we got? We got these over here. Also, it's probably super late at night for you, Candace, and that's rude to do. Play your instrument in the middle of the night. I am the guitarist. I am the one who howls at the wolves. Okay, I think it's time to go to bed. Okay, time to go to bed. Confirm the sleep yo. Hey yo, I'm sleeping though. Jeez, Brutal. It's that early for you? Go to bed, dude. It's only 9 for me. God, I should do some early streams for you, Brew. Na 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 na. Okay. No mail. Plenty of copper. Need copper blades. Okay. What else do we need? Need 5 stone bricks. How many do we have right now? We have 2 stone bricks. So we're going to cancel. Going to make stone bricks. Okay. Well, as long as you're okay with it, Brutal, because I don't want to wear you out. You're a good dude. Okay, I need to chop more wood, I think. Oh god, cookies sound amazing right now. I'm on my fasting period to lose weight. So jealous. I want the food. I want all the food. But I need to do what I'm doing in order to get beefy. Hey Jack, why you up in there? Okay, I'm also gonna need more copper. Okay, so we're gonna just leave the meet and greet for now. We can do it later. Okay, we got 2 copper blades out of that. And now we need, what do we need to do? We need to, yeah, we got 105 wood, and that's good. That's good. That's good. Okay, as long as you're okay. I worry about my fans and my friends. Okay, so now that we've got that working, and we've got 10 bricks working, which means we can make 2 of those things. In order to make the basic skyver, we need bronze stuff. Because we need to make bronze pipes. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back into that thing. Oh, it's Nora! Nora, you're so cute! Nora! Bye, Nora! Now we're gonna go back in here. Do whatever you want, dude. Well, if there's more likes than people in chat, that's good. Oh wait, we want to reset this dungeon because we want to reset this dungeon because we haven't been having much luck with copper, and we want to be able to get a lot of copper and tin to get a lot of stuff, so that we can get a lot of things and be like, yeah, we got it, we got it. Oh man, I think I'm gonna get a haircut tomorrow. Is it just always gonna look the same? Oh no. Wasted my muns. I wasted my muns. Man, I kinda don't want none unless you got muns, hon. No. No, where's the copper? Here. Here. Okay, here's some copper, I guess. Guess let's scan for an artifact, at least. Oh, there's one right there. Hey, J-Will, what's up? Just came out on the Switch. Give me the thing. Got an eyeglass. I mean, sure, I guess. So whoever left it there doesn't need it. Need more copper. More! More! Hey, is that another eyeglass? Old talker piece, huh? I need more copper. Okay, let's look. Around at the speed of sound. Where to go, gotta follow your rainbow. Let's get this one. Give me the glowy dot. I want the glowy dot. What you got? All clock. Oh man, maybe, you know what they say, it's not the size of the ship, it's the motion of the ocean. So don't be worried about that, Mr. Clock. Don't you be worried about that at all. A little adult joke slipped in there. Move to the ruin entrance, yes. That might be a thing I do late game. Empty the entire mine. Okay. Copper. Here we go. Good old copper vein. Only like 2 in the evening in-game. So we have plenty of time to get the copper ore and get back. And the next things I want to start smelting after the bricks are the bronze bars. Okay, cool. We leveled up, which means we can put more money, more skill points to this stuff. Free kicking and harvest activities has a 12% chance to double loot. Which is really important whenever I start farming stuff. You guys are talking about how much you hate sleep. And it's like, I love sleep. It's all the fun of death, but none of the consequences. Millennial humor. Yeah. Works for me, baby. Okay, we got a good amount there. Make our way back. Oh, God. Oh, buddy. Oh. Oh. Stretching feels so good. Okay, so now we make our way back. On the way there, want to break some rocks. Want to break this? No. You're not. Break that. Nope, you're not. And we break that. Maybe if we hit it. And we break this. Because we need marble in order to make marble planks. Come on, give me some more marble. We're gonna need more than one to make marble planks whenever I get this skyver done. Oh, here's another baby rock. Rocket, mate! We're encroaching on the territory of the mama rock and the baby rock. Watch as I sneak up on the baby rock and... Ah! Can I kill this? Nope, cannot kill. There we go. We got a few marbles out of there. Oh! Bad because I don't have my jump jets anymore. Go-Go Gadget jump jets. Hey Emily, your second best girl. Okay, we got 3 more copper blades. Oh, fuel depleted. Okay. Oh. There we go. Okay, so by the morning, we may have enough. Ooh, buddy. Ooh, buddy. Okay, let's go to sleep. Stay up till 2 in the morning, sometimes 3, and very rarely 5 or 6. Man, you're missing everything but the kitchen sink there, bud. Okay, sleep, real stuff. Every day I wake up and I go to the gym around 8 o'clock. And I'm trying to get that beef bod. I'm trying to get that God bod. Yeah, God bod. God bod. God bod. Matt Pat flying in the distance. Okay. 5. It's good enough for now. You just switch stuff around. Range Lindsay. Ah. Place stone brick. That's how we do. Okay, we also need to make a wooden storage real quick because we can't pick that up unless I have some free inventory space. So let's go ahead and make 4 wooden storages real quick. Okay, what can I drop real quick? Oh, let's go put the couch. Go put the couch in my house. We're gonna have a couch in my house. Yeah, couch house, couch house. Couch house. Gonna put a couch in my house. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Yeah, couch house. Couch house. Yeah, there we go. God of voices and humor. I don't think I'm that funny, guys. Oh yeah. If I were God level good at memes, I would just, like, make memes instead of repeat memes mindlessly. Okay. Wooden storage. And that's gonna go in front of the house. Okay. Work with me here. Work with me. Go. And there we go. That works for me. Okay, retrieve. Put the civil cutter over here. And we need to make some marble planks. Cool. Not enough power stone. I don't have enough power stone. I need more power stone. No! No! Hello, passenger. Need power stones. No! My plans have been foiled by my lack of power stone. Truly, Thanos has been a worthy adversary. You know what I need to do? I need to get Ant-Man in here to expand. I can't say that on this channel. I can't say that on this channel. I thought about just doing short recordings instead of streams, but I really do like talking to you guys. What do you guys think? A trap. Notes on the investigation done? Huh. Okay. Research. Give her 5 data disks. Don't submit any more data disks. Okay, so we should be getting something new by tomorrow. Well, I'm getting the overwhelming consensus that people prefer streams. Okay, so what is that orange thing? Okay, so hi Martha. Hi. Okay, so I need power stones, which means I need to mine, and if I need to mine, then we need to go back to the mines. I'm smart. Guys. I'm like Jaden Smith level smart. Oh wait, it's Sunday. Inspection day, let's do that. I completely forgot about it yesterday. I just don't feel like I have enough viewership that people would watch these small videos. Okay. Oh, I can't inspect things today. Lame! Tomorrow I might make an exception and bring back Overwatch, though. Okay, back to the mines. Yeah, back to the mines. Time to take my long axe. We got regular axe and we got a long axe, the pickaxe. Long axe. Cavemen like long axe best. Oh, Trevor D is online. Oh, that'd be great. Hey there, hi there, ho there, over the years. Can't even remember when I started that. Okay, so we need to do power stones, and those are closest to those things. So let's find one near the surface, I guess. Yeah, I guess that one will have to do. Down we go. Oh, that'd be amazing. Yeah, power stone, power stone. There's one. Oh, then. Well, even then, you'd have to, like, learn how to... You'd have to, like, pay for a good editing software. There aren't many good, like, free ones. Oh, I don't have enough inventory space. What? Wood. I will drop this. If I can? Can I abandon? Oh. Monument model piece. Yes! Okay, so, yeah. The controls are a bit much to get used to. But they are what they are. There we go. Oh, oh no! Fell right back in a hole. Oh no. Okay, so honestly, there are a few things we can do back at the house. I forget why we even came in here. It's been a long stream. It's getting hot in here. Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, no. I want the chest. Oh, no. I mean, it didn't show anything on the ground there. I got one power stone. That's good enough for me. We went in there for power stones. That's why we went in there. Marble planks, marble slab creamery. Oh, okay. We need another. Let's make another double cutter because I know eventually we'll need it. Okay. Oh man, we got so much copper. Bricks. Oh! Bricks. Cause she's a brick house. Yeah, there we go. I'm so good at this game. Later on in the game, we're going to need multiples of these. And the other thing we want to work on is bronze bars. There we go. We get bronze bars working, we can get some copper pipes working. Oh, I tried to punch a bush. I was trying to catch up on what you guys have been saying in the stream chat. But I'm not entirely following what you guys are saying. Talking about the technicalities of editing together all my hey there, hi there, ho there's. Honestly, you could probably just do 100 days. It would be good. Hey, Daniel Ward, that's all you, man. No one's required to watch me. I just hope that I'm a funny enough guy, and a cool enough guy, and a chill enough guy, and a sexy enough guy, and a cool enough guy, and a strong enough guy, and a better enough guy, and I'm just like, yeah. I mean, what? But I've done my fair share of editing. and it is difficult. I'm trying to edit together some better stream emotes for whenever people donate, because it's like I want the donation tips to look something like one second. Yeah, they're just not coming up. Huh, that's a bit of a bummer. But, you know the graphic that comes up every time I start a live stream? I want it to look a bit something like that, with, like, red for YouTube subscribers and like, blue for Twitch. And if you donate, it, like, shows up gold and stuff like that with a $ sound effect. I'd love to do something like that. Okay, let's refuel this. And go to bed. Yeah, I did finish Let's Go Eevee. You should go back and watch that. And I'm gonna stream the new Pokemon game that comes out on the Switch, too. So I hope you're there for that. Okay, now we sleep. Ding 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 dong. Okay. Placed item can be retrieved by swinging an axe at it or pressing ZL. Oh man, I really want to pick up this couch. Why didn't that work? Oh, we've only got 4 over here. Seems like some of the animations and placements have been changed. Oh, my inventory is full. Okay, so let's start putting some stuff away. Okay, so we can put this away. Fast change. This, and that. I actually want to put that old clock up in my house. Okay, we got the 3 planks. And let's get started on the bronze pipes. How many do I need for a basic Skyber? Let's find out. Oh wait, yeah, that's exactly the one I want. 1 marble plank. I have 1 marble plank. In fact, I have 2 marble planks. Oh, that's marble. Regular marble. Do I have the marble points on me? Oh, yeah, here we go. I have 3 marble points. Nice!
Yes, hold it aloft to the sky. Fear the marble plank. Yeah.
I mean, what? Okay, and then we need 2 bronze pipes per. And that, I should get enough. How long was my longest stream? I think I've done a 5-hour long stream before, Daniel. I think that was a building stream, though. Okay, and now I'm just waiting on the pipes to be made. Okay, let's read this. From Town Hall, annual Portia Fishing Day is happening this Friday and Saturday. If you're interested in participating, bring your patience and a fishing rod and register at the event. Found something useful in the data disk brought in yesterday. There's a lot of information for us to go through. We'll mail you the results within 1 day. I'm Dala, the keeper of the Portia Tree Farm. Yada yada yada. We'll need 5 wooden boards. Okay, cool. There's no time limit on that. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably about to wrap it up. I was hoping that Steve would stop by, but he's been doing a mega stream, and he's super epic, and he's getting all the money. He's a good guy. I love that. I love that, man. Okay, so in another hour, this one. Okay, I got a moth. Okay, so this one should be done in about 44 seconds. Great. There's another moth. Yes. Yeah, let's sort out our inventory while we're here. There we go. Well, yeah, but it's ticking in seconds. Like 1 second IRL is a minute in this game. Easy metrics. So like a minute in this game is an hour. A minute in real life is an hour in this game. Works out pretty well. Okay, so that is 1. There we go. We made it. That gave me 1 bronze. Kinda lame. Whatever. Well, let's chop down this tree. There we go. Okay, what else can we do today? You know what, one of the things we need to start doing is we need to run over here, start gathering poop. Yeah, the Minecraft recreation of WoW was crazy. Okay, so one of the things we need to do is we need to come over here and we need to start gathering the poopies. We need to come over here and we need to get the feces pieces. Feces puff, feces puff. Give it with the poopy flavor. Oh, parkour. Parkour, parkour. Dried apple slices. Okay, so where is the poopies? There should be poopies over here. How are there no poopies? Hey, Jason Boots. Oh, thank you, bud. Means a lot to me to hear you say that. Oh yeah, and I got 20k views on the time lapses, so I think I might have to start playing Minecraft. It's been a long time coming. Okay, there's no poopy over here. How does a whole field of cows and horses and ships not have any poopies? I'm a stranger, I'm coming into your fields, I'm stealing your poops. I mean, what? What? But welcome to the live stream, Jason. We are about to wrap up, but it's been a good one. I really appreciate you coming by, though. Okay. Oh, the fuel is depleted. But we have 2. I think we need 2 bronze pipes, though. Oh, I'm sorry, Jason. I'm sorry that it ended up like that. Feels bad, bro. But we stream every day at 8 Central, 9 EST, so you can stop by. There's a moth flying in my face. I kill all moths. I hate moths. They're like bad bumblebees, bad butterflies, that's the one. I might try Galactic Craft. Okay, so tell you what, I'm gonna talk to Steve and try and figure out which mod pack would work for me. I love you guys. I love you all. But I'm calling it right here. Bye-bye.